Yes, it's preparing.
Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, everyone, everywhere, depending on where and when you are joining us. Welcome to Africa Online TV. We are so excited to have you here with us today. I just went outside my door and checked. It is a beautiful, sunny, very windy, but almost spring-like day outside my door. What's it looking like outside yours? Well, we are still in the month of March, and yesterday was International Women's Day. So, of course, you know what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about women and her stories. So, we are so excited that all of March is Women History Month, but we're excited to bring you some history makers, uh, actually some noise makers. I don't want to call them history makers, and her story may get a little confusing to you, but we're just going to call them noisemakers. And we're going to talk about some today. In the meantime, I'm going to turn this over to my co-host for the editorial of the day, to Professor Niasang. How are you, my brother? What's going on down in your neck of the woods?
Fine, thank you. My neck of the woods, warm, 57 degrees, and you can step out there in your shirt, but be careful because it's windy also. So take care and make sure that you don't get your scarf blown off by the wind. Welcome to Africa Online Media Corporation, as Ambassador Lisa just said. And of course, it is March 9th, the 9th day of March in the year 2025. And it is the 68th day of the year. So 68 days have gone by. We still have 297 days to go before we begin to say Happy New Year to another year. So that being said, today is the 10th Sunday of 2025. In the 11th week of 2025, if we use the United States Standard Week number calculation. It is the 79th day, Ambassador Lisa, day of winter. So there are only 11 days left, and you will forget about that shovel and that jacket that you need to have to step out. But it is also something worth knowing. It is False Teeth Day. Take note, False Teeth Day. It is. So whatever it is,
Oh my God.
you don't need any, but one never knows. It can happen. It is the 5th day of Lent for Christians. And of course, Ash Wednesday was last Wednesday. So today is the 5th day of Lent. Among other things, today, which happens to be Check Your Batteries Day, occurs every second Sunday in March and is, as we already, Ambassador Lisa already said, I think, daylight saving time. Those of us in North America had to skip forward, or as they say, spring forward 1 hour at 2 a.m. this morning. If you did not, and you have the analog clock in your house, you have to do that physically, but with your phone and with your computer, those things now happen automatically when the day comes and when the time comes. So it is what it is. So let us do it the way we can. If you are late, or if you were late this morning, it means you did not spring forward 1 hour. That said, it is Get Over It Day. Get Over It Day. So whatever has been bothering you these last days or since this morning, just remember to get over it before you go to bed tonight. You will be doing yourself a lot of good as we get over all that. Let's settle down to do business, because we have to get over our noises and get over our anger, get over our inconveniences, and get over winter. Let's be ourselves. For more than 110 years now, International Women's Day, IWD, has marked a global day to celebrate the women, their achievements, and what they stand for in our world. International Women's Day, IWD, as I said, has been around reminding us about issues affecting women, as have many other issues still impacting their development and their advancement. In fact, since 1911, International Women's Day has belonged to all who care about women's equality and celebrate women's achievements. We raise awareness about discrimination against women, and we take action to make sure that those gender inequalities are done away with. We gather from their website that the theme for International Women's Day this year is, quote, accelerate action, end of quote. Accelerate action, therefore, for gender equality. This is important, they tell us, that is, the website tells us, because accelerating action emphasizes the importance of taking swift and decisive steps to achieve gender equality. It also calls for increased momentum and urgency in addressing the systemic barriers and biases that women face, both in personal and professional spheres. International Women's Day, celebrated yesterday, is not country, group, or organization specific. So as we celebrate the day, we should remember those women, quote, who are caught up in some anomalous norms and doldrums, such as genital mutilation, breast ironing, domestic violence, you name the rest. They, the women, that is, are our daughters. They are our mothers. They are our sisters. They are our partners. They are colleagues, all human beings caught up through no fault of theirs in a senseless effort by some to lord it over them because they think that the woman's place is in the kitchen or in the backyard. They are, that is the women, are marginalized for no fault of theirs. They are marginalized in their societies. They are marginalized in different places for no reason whatsoever, but those who do it say they have reasons. They are the Malala Yousafzais denied the right to earn an education or the opportunity of leaving the kitchen and the bedroom to the boardroom. Yet they, the women, are the main breadwinners who struggle every day to put food on the table and follow up their children's education. Let us work tirelessly with ambition, confidence, and conviction, and without any preconditions to ensure that the women in our communities are honestly glorified for their academic achievements, for shattering the proverbial glass ceiling, and for exhibiting their entrepreneurial skills with such grace, glamour, and elegance. With that, I say Happy International Women's Day to all the women, especially this 2025. And let me hand over the microphone to our chair, and she will welcome all of us and get this discussion going. Your Excellency, Your Royal Highness, or Your Highness, did she step away already? She must be busy doing something else. So Ambassador Lisa, it is your turn to welcome all of us and get this discussion going.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nia-san. Well, as my co-partner said, that this year's theme is Accelerate Action. And that's what we want to do. You know, we've been talking a lot about stuff that we want to see happen. Yesterday, I participated in a prayer event for International Women's Day, the Beijing 30 project. And it's been 30 years since this has been talking about. So Accelerate Action is perfect because I'm not sure if we're at the end of the 30 years or almost at the end of the 30 years, but it is time that we start putting some action to our talk. Talk is good, but action is even better. So I was hoping to have some guests today. In case they don't come, I prepared something else. So I want to talk about some women who are making or have made her story. And we're not talking about women who have died and gone on before. I don't want to talk about the Rosa Parkses who have, we know the mark they have made. I want to talk about women that you may not know about, that are right here, recently passed, maybe still alive, but who are making great impacts in their society, in their community. And I want you to be encouraged to know that you can be doing the same thing as well. So while we perhaps wait on some other people, I want to talk about some different types of women. I want to talk about pioneering women and groundbreaking women, and then there's the courageous woman, and then there are the tenacious women, the inspirational women. These are the women who are around us every day, and we don't even realize or recognize that these noisemakers are changing things for our good. So the first woman I want to talk about, she has recently passed. And when I say recently, 2011, but this pioneering woman, Matia Wanjiri, she was a Kenyan socialist. She was an environmental and political activist who founded the Green Belt movement. Now, most of you know, especially when you're on a continent, you know that you have to get up early in the morning and walk miles to get water to bring back home for your family. Well, she was tired of doing this, that long walk out to get a little bit of water, and then having to most likely do that long walk in the evening to go back and bring more water for the evening meal and the bathing and the washing of clothes and things like that. So this courageous woman started a NGO, a non-governmental organization focused on planting trees. She noticed that her area didn't have any trees. If there's no trees, then there's no need for water. If there's no water, there's no trees, then there are no animals. And she began to plant trees. In 1977, she began to plant trees, and the trees that grew now provided also firewood. The animals began to return back to the area because now the trees were there. That means that there could have possibly been nuts and there are leaves and there are other things that animals can eat. So she single-handedly was responsible for bringing back to her village, to her nation, life, water, animals, everything that's needed in the circle of life that we need to survive. She is also, in 2004, she became the first African-American woman to win a Nobel Peace Prize. Can you imagine, as long as they have been doing the Nobel Peace Prize, Nia Sung, she is the first African-American woman to win it. A Kenyan, where I live. So she makes me proud. She makes me proud. She does me good. She is also the author, or was also the author of several books. She was not only an activist, but also an intellectual whose significant contribution to thinking about ecology and development of gender and gender equality in the planting of the trees, it gave the women opportunities to work and to make money and to do some other things because she thought to plant one tree. And thanks to her, 51 million trees have been planted, starting with one seedling. And this is a quote from her. Starting with one seedling, she was able to provide a very small action that changed the world. One seedling, she was able to change not only Kenya, but she was able to change the world. She was one of those noisemakers. She won a Nobel Peace Prize as the first African-American woman. She began to make changes in her society that brought about changes globally. And I am proud of her. Did you know that it only takes you to have one idea, one thought, and you can begin to change the world as well? You know, Nia Sung, as I was sitting and preparing today for this program, I just started thinking about some things that, the Lord had put on my heart to do. And as I'm looking at all these women, I'm thinking, yeah, you're right. You don't have to be old and you don't have to be dead. You can begin to change history, her story, right now today. So I had some couple of ideas that I had to jot down real quickly. So as we're going along in this program today, I don't know, maybe you're watching us live, maybe you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook, you're watching the rerun. There is something that God has given you to do that will help change your society, help change your community. It's time now to get those ideas out, accelerate action, and begin to get boots on the ground and do something. So the second woman that I want to talk about is a groundbreaker, and she's one of my favorites as well. Now, she has passed, and she's gone on, but Bessie Coleman. She was the first African-American woman to have a private pilot's license. Now, back then, you know, African Americans, we were only at least the men were only considered 3/5 of the men. I don't know what they considered women. If men were only 3/5 of a person, what in the world? How do you have 3/5 of a person? My God.
That's a strange thing. Yeah.
So what were women? But anyway, they would not allow her to go to flight school here in America. They thought that we did not have the capacity to handle the complex instructions, to handle the complex controls of flying an airplane. So what did she do as a young woman? She taught herself French. She taught herself well enough that she was able to go to France, enroll in school, and come out top of her class. She soloed, she got her private pilot license, she learned to do acrobatics. And not only did she do all those things, because you know, there we had a lot more liberality, but she actually came back to the States and started life again and began to do some groundbreaking and noise-making things.
You're breaking up, or you're broken up completely. Uh-oh. Do we have a break in transmission? Anyway, this is Africa.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I think she's frozen. Yes, I'm back. Sorry, I had to step away.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah. So while we're waiting for Ambassador Lisa, let me just welcome all our viewers from YouTube and those are going to watch on Facebook. We are now streaming on YouTube. No longer Facebook. We'll update it or upload it on Facebook. You know, so we're encouraging everyone to like the video and follow us on YouTube. Ambassador Lisa, are you back?
I am back.
Yes,
okay, go ahead. Yeah, go
yes.
ahead.
She not only she bought a kit, built her own airplane, flew it, did aerobatics in it, and began to make money by putting on these aerial shows for people to come out to the country fairs and see her do tricks. An African-American woman who made her story by being the first African-American to get a private pilot's license and go out into the world and make a name for herself. She didn't wait around for someone to give her an opportunity. She created an opportunity. She accelerated her actions and created opportunities for herself. Nia-san?
Yes, indeed. The women, even though left behind, have never surrendered, have never turned their backs and run away. They always strive to do it better. And that is why we should focus on this, raise the awareness, and ensure that the women by our side are recognized for who they are given the opportunity to live their lives and live them as completely as possible. Because I know that they say if you train a woman, you're training a whole village.
A whole village.
Individual. So it is very, very important for all of us to do everything we can to make sure that the women in our lives or the women that that are in the world are given the opportunity to thrive as much as they can because they are not sleeping. I know that in the United States, it was not until 1920 that women had the right to vote, even though the country was independent in 1776. But it took centuries, I mean years, for women to have the right to vote, something that should not happen. So this gender equity is something we should all emphasize, even if people are talking against equity and whatever, we should at least ensure that women have the right to express themselves in public. Women have the right to go out and work like every other person and earn as much as the male person is earning, not just half or 1/3 of what they are earning. So that is our story, and the story of the women we must emphasize is necessary for us to join them in what they are doing because they are helping move the world forward.
Yes.
Give power to the women. I think there will be less wars. There will be less conflicts. I believe so in my heart. And I think that the women should be given the opportunity to show that they are better leaders than the men. That is why focusing on the plight of women is very important. Ensuring that we help them celebrate is important. And not just celebrate, but taking action to make sure that what we do is done well, is done as good as everyone else. I know there are communities where they think that the women should stay in the background, not in the 20th century, not in the 21st century. It is time for us to move forward, to give women the opportunity to be who they are, because they are human beings, 100%, not a quarter percent, but 100%. So that is what I have to say at this point. Ambassador Lisa, over to you.
Thank you. Speaking of courageous, that's my next set of women that we want to talk about. But before I go there, as you were saying, Nia, about giving women an opportunity to make money, giving women an opportunity to have a voice. I am so afraid that, no, I'm not afraid. That's not the word I want to use. I believe that the male-dominated society is so afraid of us as women, as African-American women, even of our men. They know we come from greatness, and they have spent their lives trying to make sure that we don't know that. But we know that, especially when we've come to know who we are. The Sankofa symbol means being able to go back, to look back in order to go forward. So we must look back, understand who we are and where we come from, so that we can go forward in the face of opposition. And speaking of the face of opposition, here's a young woman in my courageous women's category who was very courageous, who stood up. She was only 15 years old. And she lives in a country where women, talking about here in America, where a Black man was only 3/5 of a man. She lived in a country where women had no rights at all. None. They were child brides, and that was basically the most that they could be, was a child bride. They can't go out uncovered. They can't be seen outside unless there is a father or uncle or a male chaperone. And I'm talking about in the person of Malala Yousafzai. She's a 15-year-old girl who lived in Pakistan. She lived in a country that said women and girls had no rights. They had no voice, but she stood up to the Taliban, one of the most dangerous regimes, one of the most dangerous type of groups of terrorists there is. And she stood up and demanded that girls be given an opportunity to go to school. I was doing some study, Reverend Pam, about them some time ago. And I think it was when we were doing the show on the child's brides. And as I was reading some of those things, how these families were marrying, quote unquote, their daughters at 13, at 12, at 15, off to these old men old enough to be their fathers and their grandfathers. And they were expected to perform wifely duties when they were only children. They did not have the capacity to understand. They didn't have the capacity to know. And their bodies were not fully formed enough to be able to handle the rigors of being able to handle wifely duties. And these young girls were dying. No one was talking about that. No one was reporting how these young girls were dying in childbirth. Why? Because their bodies were not prepared. Their bodies were not formed enough, which is why a baby is not born until after 9 months, because it takes time for the heart to develop and the lungs to develop. And when a baby's born premature, they have health issues. So you have girls who are having mental issues and health issues as well, because they're being married off at 13 and 15. But here we have a young lady who demanded that girls go to school and be educated instead of married off. She was even the subject and the survivor of a Taliban attack against her life, and she survived. And here she is, the first young woman to win a Nobel Peace Prize, because she demanded that girls be given an opportunity to learn, to exercise that part of their body, to exercise that brain. God has given us all the capacity, and we have a brain. But if you're marrying a young girl off, and now she's expected to go home and clean and cook and do all those things, her mind is not being expanded. And God has given us brilliant minds. So here we have Malala, who made her story, not only in her country, but as her actions have made an impact, her courageousness, it has now begun to spread to other countries where women did not have a right to speak or be educated. And she just recently married. I'm not sure how old.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just was reading. She announced that she had married, and you know what I liked about it is because she married a man of her choosing.
Good. Oh, so where's the man from? I can look it up online.
Yeah, I don't remember it because they said that there's not very much said about him other than she announced his first name. So no one knows his last name. She says she was married in a very private ceremony with just her family. And I want to say I think it was Britain, but I'm not very sure. Yeah, so you
Okay,
can
so
look
she
it
didn't
up and
marry
see.
somebody from her country.
I believe she did, yes, but it was not in her country, I don't
Not
think.
my country, yes. I think she's married to somebody from Pakistan, but was living outside the
In
country.
the diaspora, so she doesn't have.
Yeah,
let me just say something, Nia. So when you were talking about, we are not trying to show that women could be better governors or managers or leaders than men, because it's not a competition. But by nature, we are nurturing, and that's why if you even look during the pandemic, most of the countries that were the few countries that were led by women contained it. Their death rates were not that high. And I'm very excited about this young lady in Mexico because I believe, first of all, for her to get that position in a country that was controlled by the cartel, I mean, we need to cut, in Cameroon, they say cut cafe, or they salute her for that. And you heard her saying that she was not going to succumb to any bully, I'm not naming names, so, but I think there should be more women in leadership, not just second position. I laud the Ghanaians for making history, having the first female vice president, who is going to be our history maker recipient this year in New York. But I think by nature, don't get me wrong, there's a women who are more dangerous or ruthless than men, but generally, we are by nature nurturers. And remember, we are the ones that give birth. We carry a human being in our stomach, in our abdomen, in our wombs, in our uterus for 9 months on the average. When you do that, it does something to you because you are in communication and taking care of somebody you cannot see. And when they start kicking, you cannot complain because they're not going to hear you complaining. But even the process of giving birth itself, to me, is the greatest mystery. To think that when that child comes, you see the channel that the child is coming from, such a small channel, but God made it such that the child can come out.
Yes.
So you are responsible for that child's life, especially in the infant stage. Make sure they don't die prematurely, or they don't get hurt, or they don't get sick. They are fed, they are changed. Changing diapers, because if you don't, what do you call this thing? The rash. The name just slipped me. The diaper rash.
Oh.
Can cause, in fact, you can eat them up so bad. There are some that are, so when I was in Texas student, we used to make, excuse me, sorry, it was a cholesterol medicine called Question that we used to mix with petroleum jelly or Vaseline for the diaper rash. And it worked because it was just absorbing the water from the urine when they urinate, So women and most mothers cannot sleep until their children sleep. That's why my late brother-in-law, may his soul rest in peace, President Baraga, my sister was married to the brother. He sang this song, Sweet Mother. And I think I need to look for that song online, but I don't know if there'll be a violation with a trademark or anything, but people have played that song, copied it. To me, that remains the most classic a tribute to mothers, Ambassador Lisa, I don't know if you're familiar with it. I'll look for it online.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
No, then after you play your song, we're gonna play that to salute the mothers. I mean, women really, the kind of things we do, men cannot do.
They cannot
Even walking on, can you walk on high heels? Let's leave childbirth alone. Even walking on high heels, or I have to do.
I've never tried that. I've never tried that.
All right, so I'll hand back over to you guys. Let me pull that song up.
I want to get back. We want to get back to the subject, but I have seen men trying to walk in high heels. I know that some of these birthing programs, they have the husbands to wear that belly, so they can understand and have compassion for what their wives are going through. So they have to walk around carrying that body piece that looks like a belly. They can't sit down, they can't lay down, they can't get comfortable. So they can kind of get an idea of what it is that women go through. And we do it with a smile. We do it with very little argument, and they're just not capable. And as you said, we're not in competition with our men. God knows I'm a strong woman, but had I had an opportunity or have an opportunity for a man to be in my life, and he is a strong man and he's a leader, I don't have a problem taking second place because I want the man to be in his proper role, and I be in my proper role as a helpmeet. But when you're not there and there's that gap, women step in. It's like, as Reverend Pam said, we're nurturers. We just step in and get the job done because give us $5 and we'll make a meal. You give a man $5 and tell him to go to the store and see what he gonna come back with. A hoagie and a bag of chips. And ain't nobody else gonna eat. but anyway, I digress.
Yes.
Maybe Professor Niasang won't have that issue because he knows how to grow vegetables, and he can go out in his garden and get some vegetables and come back and make stew, and everybody can eat. But the majority of men don't know what to do. They don't know how to take $5 and turn that into a meal.
No, they don't. And
would-
not all women do, but Black women do. And what Niasong does, a lot of men will not do it. Especially African men, they will not help their wives with a garden, especially in this country.
Right.
Back home, there are people, this is not happening in my family, but there are people that will go to the farm with the wives. When they get there, the woman would do more of the furrows, more of the tilling or planting. And when they get home, the man goes and sit on the couch. The woman has to go into the kitchen and cook, and then come and serve it. But remember, both of them went to the farm.
Right.
So we are just wired that way. God created us that way, and I believe that we really really need to appreciate and honor our women. And there are some men that do. When I went to Wall Street for the first time, that was 2 years ago. One of our brothers, that laid the red carpet for me. I am telling you, this guy is a big guy. He's a quiet multi-billionaire, but he laid the red carpet. And when I was leaving, he carried my bag, physically carried my laptop bag, and walked me out, made sure my Uber came, and I got into the Uber before he went back into the building. That's how our brothers need to treat us.
Yes. Gentlemen.
Yes.
I love a gentleman.
Yeah.
I was going to the store. My son and I went to a brunch the other day. We went for Pancake Day, and there were two other young ladies coming in the store. We were coming to the door at the same time. So my son opened the first door for us to walk through. So that put him behind us. And the young ladies were reaching for the door in front of me. I popped one of their hands. And she looked at me. I said, when there is a man around, let him be the gentleman. And she said, you know what? You're right. She said, but I don't find any around. So I'll be standing at this door for a long time waiting for somebody to open the door for me. But I said, but I raised my boys to be gentlemen, to open the door, to open the car doors, to walk on the curved side of the street, And even though my middle son, he do it to be smart. If I'm on the curve, he'll push me. And he's so heavy-handed. And I act like I'm falling down. But they still remember. They remember that if we put it in them, it will be there. And they won't get away from it. But back to what we were talking about. We're talking about her story. So the next courageous woman or women that I want to talk about, Niasang, Reverend Pam, have you heard of the movie or the documentary called Praying the Devil Back to Hell?
No.
Oh my God. I had the privilege of being one of the first people to see the screening in Philadelphia. It was a documentary put forth by Abigail Disney. I believe she's the granddaughter. If she's not the granddaughter, she may be a great-granddaughter of Walt Disney. And she did this documentary on the women of Liberia. They had that horrible, horrible civil war going on for years. And Praying the Devil Back to Hell is an awesome testimony. Also a gripping account of a group of women. And these women they put religion aside. They didn't say, oh, we can't work with the Muslims. No, we're not working with, no, the Christians and the Muslims worked together. They got dressed in that white together, and they demanded that the end of war happens in their country. They wanted peace. They were tired of seeing their children killed, families killed. And one of the things that I liked very much about the film, at the end of the film, these planes were coming in to bring more equipment, and I think they were coming to bring more guns, and they were coming and bringing soldiers and things. Those women rose up early in the morning in their white, and they went out to that airport and that airfield, and they went out there and laid on their face before God, and they prayed, and those planes could not land because those women of Liberia were out there on the field. It is an untold story. It's very historic.
Wow.
And it's an unheard story, and it's an unheard voice, and it's a must see. Now, I looked before I got on the show. I do have the clip for the trailer, and I did look to see if it was available, if it was still available. And some of the things they were saying on the website was that I don't think it was available. I think I saw one copy on Amazon. I did find quite a few copies on eBay, but Pray the Devil Back to Hell is a movie, a documentary that must be seen. And as I said, it was aired here in Philadelphia with the Mayor's Commission on African and Caribbean Immigrant Affairs, with the Honorable Stanley Strada as our chairperson. They brought it to Philadelphia, and we aired it at the University of Pennsylvania's Penn Museum. And this movement led to the election of the first African-American nation electing a female president, the Honorable Ellen Joseph Sharif, as the president.
I'm gonna check it out. If you, I mean, for our viewers, you can put it on the chat box.
Yes,
women really are the backbone of the community because they're the backbone of the household. They are the ones that run the household, and the households make the community. Even in churches, it doesn't matter whether the pastor is a male or female. The women are the one that run churches, and churches play a key role in our community. And talk about not just praying the devil back to hell, the power of a praying wife or a praying mother,
yes,
or a praying daughter or a praying sister. I'm telling you, when Jesus resurrected on Easter Sunday, he revealed himself to a woman. Before going to meet his Father. There was not, prior to that, there was no prophecy that he will show himself to a woman. But because our original grandmother Eve dropped the ball and created problems for us, Jesus came and restored the woman on Easter Sunday. And for him to show himself to Mary of Magdala before going to his Father, that should tell everybody how God sees women, our place in society. Women, we want to honor all women. I don't care what race, I don't care what religion, I don't care your economic or political or social status. I don't care how much money is in your bank account, so long as you are a woman. I'm not talking about people that were born men and they transformed to women. We're talking about real women, women that were born women. We want to honor you today. Over to you, Ambassador Lisa.
Thank you. Speaking of women running the church, I know a particular denomination, and I'm not calling any names, but I know a particular denomination who does not allow the women in the church to have any vote or voice, and still today, no voice and no vote. And when asked why, they said, plain and simply, because if we let them have a vote, they would vote us men out and we would never have control again.
That's discrimination, and I don't know what God they are worshiping, but God said we are when God, the Bible refers to people as sons of God, it means men and women. We are equal. As a matter of fact, when he created Adam, he realized that in Genesis that it's not good for man to be alone, and he had to put the man to sleep.
He had to put him to sleep. He probably would have been kicking it.
So the man had no decision whatever, because the man would have been looking for a figure 8 with a big butt and big front and all that stuff. God put Adam to sleep. Adam did not contribute to what Eve looked like, but when he saw Eve, he said, "This is not bone of my bones." So the men cannot do without the women. If they could, then God would not have had a need to create a woman. Mia Song, we know that you respect women. That's why we are here with you every Sunday.
It's been part of me since I was born, because my mother gave birth to me and made sure that I survived. I was a sickling at birth, and through right up to end of primary school, elementary school, I was always sick, and my mother was always there for me. My father's other wife was also there for me, and I had one sister who grew up to my kid sister. She grew up to be so much in love with me that she told me, "You have to be the man that you are, and to make sure that you don't ever turn your back on any woman." And I appreciate her for that. She may she rest in peace. She passed 5 years ago, so may she rest in peace.
It's been 5 years already.
Yes, it's been 5 years already. And to tell the truth, women have been part of my life, and I enjoy being in their midst because they make me feel comfortable. They don't discriminate against me. They don't say things. They don't say things that will annoy me or anger me or throw me off. They just fit in, and we go and live our lives together. We converse, we hold conversations, and we do when we have to work. Like when I was still working, most of my colleagues were women, and of course, none ever pointed a finger to say, "Oh, Barnabas, you're doing this thing wrong. You are being naughty to me. You are being bad to me." So please, I appreciate women for who they are, and I thank you all for being here with me on this program. I'm usually the only man in the house, but it keeps me comfortable. You make me feel at ease, and I like being here. And I continue.
Thank you.
Happy Women's Day, because International Women's Day. It's been great. And I was listening to some clip from Cameroon today, and the women on their day yesterday came up with 12 commandments of the woman. And one was, make sure that you wake up first, make sure you have your husband eat breakfast before going to work, and make sure you tell her, have a good day before she leaves for work, because you never know what will happen when she's at work.
Oh, isn't that awesome?
So it was quite a long list of the commandments, but I appreciated it. The fact that women can stand up to say that in public during their march past in Yaoundé and Douala.
No, but you see, our men, especially the ones in this country, are some kind of endangered species, and they get attacks while they're out there. So the women, really, they don't need it from our sisters. They don't need it from their wives or their daughters. We really need to be their support system.
Yes.
And women, most of the time, the women are the ones that hold the house together. And a good woman, or Proverbs 31:10 to 30 woman, would, even if she's making more money than her husband, nobody will know. Nobody will know who's taking care of the bills.
Right.
Nobody will know. But there are some, when they start making more money, they start running their mouth. Anyway, we're dedicating. It's the truth. You know, June is dedicated to the men.
We're not going to go there. We're celebrating our women, our her stories, and our women who are making her story noisemakers. We're not going to start talking about those women who won't do right, who get beyond.
No, that was just a side comment. But
I know.
On the whole, the women are a wonderful species, wonderful, powerful, gifted, anointed. You know, it's amazing. It's, you know, Ambassador Lisa, you can correct me with this. You know, some people, they eat chitlins, they don't know exactly why our people used to eat it, you know.
Oh, right.
And like, you can correct me, I will let you expand on that. But I know when I came to this country, August 15, 1985, oxtails were being thrown away. These oxtails that are now $10.99 a pound.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
I remember the first time I saw oxtail, I was like, wow, they were not being eaten. But now, thanks to Jamaicans, you know, and I mean, Africans, now a lot of people can't even afford oxtails. So do you know the story of the chitlins? Because a lot of the times, even with the fried chicken, you know, when the certain parts of the chicken that were being thrown, the masters will not eat them. Then the black women will mix it with flour and fry it to give extra volume to fill up the. Ambassador Lisa, I just want us to, because we really need to honor our mothers too from before. Those that went ahead of us and made it possible for some of us to be here.
Not only for us to be here, but to survive and thrive. Not just survive.
While you do that, I'll step away for a minute. I'll be back in a short time, please.
Okay,
no problem.
So we survived and we thrived because the women our ancestors, our grandmothers took those things that were thrown out and that were given to us that the slave masters thought were garbage. As a matter of fact, it was garbage. And they gave it to our families, and we knew what to do with it. You know, I was in Nigeria, my last trip, and I was sitting in the balcony, and the family across the street was getting ready for a wedding, and they had a cow tied up outside, and I kept praying that cow was the bride price and not the
That it
meal,
was not going to be killed.
but it was the meal. So that morning I got up and I was watching the women as they were preparing those pieces of the cow, and they was cleaning the intestines.
Exactly.
And I don't know if they serve it, but at the rate at which they were cleaning and working so hard to clean it, I'm assuming that they cook it, and they probably like the chitlins as well. I was not invited to the wedding. I just happened to be living across the street and watched all the preparation and stuff. But yes, we were given the chitlins and the hearts and the gizzards and the livers, because that was not the part of the chicken that the slave masters ate. So they threw it out in the garbage, or they gave it to the slaves, the enslaved people, for their meal, kind of disrespectfully. Yet they took it and they made
turned it into gold.
Turned it into gold. There is a shop, it's in Philly, that you can get a chitlin hoagie. I've never had a chitlin hoagie, never intend to have a chitlin hoagie. But as you were saying with the oxtails, now I don't eat oxtails. I've never had one. Don't have.
Oh my God!
To eat one. I'm not.
I'm addicted to it.
Oh,
the Jamaican style. It has to be tender.
My last turkey neck that I ate was when I was a child, still living at home with my mother. I could not imagine eating the turkey neck or buying it. Even now, when I go to the store and I see it in the store, I'll be like, I can't believe that she would cook this, and we ate this, and we sucked on that bone, and it was good.
Let me tell you, Ambassador Lisa, I don't eat fresh turkey except the one for Thanksgiving, but the smoked turkey.
I didn't get that. You know,
I don't eat fresh turkey. You know, but I eat, except for the Thanksgiving turkey that is done, and I eat jerk turkey. But the smoked turkey, I like the necks, because I had to replace because the oxtail is loaded with fat. I had to replace that with turkey neck because I like the bones. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
I love smoked turkey necks a lot. I do. You know, so, but that's something that, like I said, I ate turkey in this country by accident. Yes, when I came in the 80s, we visited Cameroon. She made what we call Polish plantains, and I thought it was smoked meat, you know. And I was like, where did you get this from? Then my brother purposely did not tell me what it was because he knew I would not have eaten it.
Right.
So when I ate it, it tasted so good. But when I found out, oh my God, I felt like throwing up. But then I started eating smoked turkey. That's how it happened. But you know, like the intestine you're talking about, there's this stripe part, which in Cameroon we call it towel. It looks like towel. And the other part, and yeah, when they clean it well, you know, the only thing, hopefully they clean it well. But Africans do eat it, the intestines of the cow. They do eat it.
Well, that was a trip down memory lane as we talked about the foods that our grandparents and our great-grandparents served. And one thing about them chitlins, I tell you, if you clean them in your house, that house is going to smell for days. I don't know what you can do to be able to prepare them where your house doesn't smell. I don't know. I know my grandmother's house smelled all the time. Everybody on the block knew. Matter of fact, everybody on the block knew when everybody was cooking chitlins.
Oh my God, they couldn't do it outside?
No, we didn't cook outside, but we cleaned in the kitchen and sink.
To clean outside, that's what I mean.
Yeah, no, we don't clean them outside. We don't take our food outside.
But that should be time consuming. I've never had chitlins, but that should be very time consuming.
It is very time consuming. You start on a Saturday morning, maybe Saturday evening, you're getting them in a pot to get
my God,
and ready for the next day.
Wow.
Because you have to go inside and get all that fat and all that stuff. It's very nasty.
No, but we have to honor those women, because now, I mean, I think back then it was even difficult for them, and not even safe to walk, even go to the store, let alone to go to certain places to get stuff. Now we can go anywhere we want and get our stuff, what we want, shop in the same grocery stores like everybody else, you know,
Mhm.
and if there's any ignorant person there, that's their headache, you know. But yeah, but it was amazing. What did they garden though, Ambassador Lisa?
Well, we did. We had a garden in my grandparents' house, and we lived right in the middle of the city. And we grew collard greens. We had a grapevine. We had a Georgia peach tree. We built our own barbecue grill pit, and we grew tomatoes. We grew watermelon, and we grew peppers. So every
Oh wow,
Sunday we ate from our garden. We went outside and picked the peppers and the tomatoes.
that was awesome.
Yeah, my sister bought a small little grape tree. We thought it was Concord grapes, but they end up being more like a muscadine grape. And it grew up we had a big 3-story house, and it grew up the side of the house all the way to the 3rd floor. So we were able to go outside
Really?
and we grew sunflowers. So we would go out and we would pick
Wow.
grapes. And for we didn't celebrate Halloween, but on Halloween, all of the cousins came together at my grandparents' house. And that was when we harvested sunflowers, and we would pick all the seeds out and put them in the oven and roast them, and we would make candy apples because we didn't.
Listen to that. Isn't that, oh, those are things that I'm missing these days. You know, I
Yes, it
don't,
is.
yeah, I don't celebrate Halloween either. I celebrate Hallelujah night. But let's shift a little bit from the kitchen to like crafts, handcrafts, like the mothers, you know, used to make clothes or
Hmm.
to for the kids. They had to
Uh-huh.
because you know a lot of them didn't have money, or the men were working in the fields, and the mothers had to find a way to clothe the children, and also hand-me-downs. I'm talking about back then. I grew up with my brothers, so I didn't really have. By the time
And
I
you
grew up,
didn't have any,
my
maybe a
sister
spare
was
pant.
already, the age difference between me and my older sister is too broad, so my sister was not
Okay.
at home when I was growing up. I grew up with my dad, and we had 2 house boys there and my brother, so I really did not have a sister when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm. Well, my mother sewed for us. My mother and both her sisters sewed. One of my aunts did upholstery because her husband was a upholsterer, and she did
Mm-hmm.
furniture. Matter of fact, my uncle, a few of his pieces, at least I know at least one piece should still be on display at the Smithsonian Institute there in
Oh wow.
DC. He did work, he did all of Patti LaBelle's house. Um, he did all the furniture in her house. But my mother made clothes for us every day. There were 3 girls, she had 3 girls. And
Wow.
every morning that we got up, we had new skirts or dresses to wear to school.
Isn't that awesome?
And
So,
I was talking to one of my friends. We were getting ready for our tea, and I was telling her I was looking for a gown. I said, I've got the tea, I've got a cotillion, and then I have a gala. And she said, well, you can't wear the same gown. I said, oh my God, no. My mother would turn over her grave. She told us you wear a gown once,
uh, good
maybe
for
twice
her.
if you were not going in the same, if you're not going to be around the same people in the
Same
same
people,
place,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
because but she made our gowns for us as well. So I said, that's still in my head. I cannot imagine putting on a gown to go to the tea and then turn around and wearing it the next month. Even though you put
Exactly.
retainers, I'm not, no, I need a couple
Is
gowns.
that was how you were raised, you know? That was
That's how I was
like
raised.
me
Yeah.
to today. I love suits because my dad always made suits for me. My dad was a suit guy.
Okay.
He was a GQ guy up until his death. He would dress up in suits. He had the best suits. He went to work in suits, you know, and so that's why I like suits to today.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
funny
you know,
when you look back over your life and you see what you think is you, and you realize that, oh no, this is just part of the habit, or this is just part of my upbringing. But I tell
yeah.
people all the time, when I went to school, we couldn't wear pants. When I was
Oh
in
wow.
junior high, we weren't allowed to wear pants.
The school
So
did not allow you guys or your
school did not
parents?
allow, no, school did not allow girls to wear pants. And this was a public
Hmm.
school. So, it was nothing for my mother to get some fabric and whip us up a skirt. And night after we went to bed, she'd whip us up skirts and dresses to wear to school the next
Oh,
day. So,
that reminds me of something, Ambassador Lisa, in
mhm.
20, was it 2010? Because I used to head the medical mission on a global ministry, went to northern part of the country. I'm not going to say which country, but there, first of all, the men had pushed all the women and the children to the back of the line, and they stood in the front of the line. And the women were not allowed to wear pants, and I was wearing pants. So somebody came and told me in Hausa, I said, it's a good thing I don't speak Hausa, but tell these men, first of all, I'm not from their village. I'm not one of their women. And if they don't want my pants, I will carry my pants and all the medical supplies and all the doctors and leave.
Uh-huh.
And then the second thing is, I told the doctor who was with me, tell these men that there's no way all of them could have gotten here first, because first come, first serve.
Exactly.
So it's obvious that they pushed the women and the children to the back. Now we're going to flip. The women and the children are going to be in the front, and they're going to be in the back. And somebody came out was telling me that I should be careful because these people could assassinate me. I said, they cannot. I said, God brought me here. So about, I think it was a couple of hours after we left, then the Islamists came looking for us to kill us, to slaughter us with machete. But we were already gone. Yes, we're already gone. You know, and so there are women, there are still some parts, and this was recent, you know, this was 2010. There are still parts of the world that women are not allowed to wear pants, which doesn't make any sense to me. All right, Nia Song is back. I'm going to step away and I'm going to hand over to you guys. Oh, Ambassador Lisa, do you want me to give you the link to that video? I'll put it in the chat and you can play it after.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah. So we have about 4 minutes. We have about 4 minutes before we're at the top of the hour, and we're still talking about honoring our women and it's the history, her stories, and the noisemakers that we are.
Yes, and before
we will be
before Her Highness goes away, the name of the husband to Malala is Asa Malik, and they live in Great Britain. They live in the United Kingdom.
That's what I thought. Great,
good for her.
Yeah,
awesome.
Asa Malik. So that's the name. I got the name, and I thought I should share it before you step away.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yes. So, of course, we have to continue to praise and raise awareness about the need for women to be in the front and center of our daily lives, because they are an important component of society. That being said,
Ambassador Lisa, do you see the YouTube thing? I just put it in the chat.
Oh, yes. Okay. So I will play that.
Oh, yeah. And then I'll put the ticket link for the Brain Bank too. Thank you, guys. I'm going to step away. We are still streaming. I'll be back before the show is over.
Okay.
Thank you.
So as we were talking, we're talking about this being International Women's Day. I am going to, instead of sharing our usual anthem, I have permission to share the International Women's Day song.
Okay.
I found it by accident. Well, not by someone sent it to me, and I had the opportunity to listen to it. And I like, oh my God, we've got to have it. It's only 3 years old, so we're going to share that. We're going to be right back after that. This is not as long as our anthem, so don't go away and be gone too long. Grab a sip of water, put your dinner in the oven, back on warm, and we'll be back after 2 minutes, and we'll talk about our announcements. And
the ticket link is on. Okay. Thank you.
See you around. It's not playing.
Not yet.
Okay.
Across the nations, all around the world, we men are longing to be free, no longer in the shadows, forced to stay behind, but side by side in true equality. So sing a song for women everywhere. Let it ring around the world and never, never cease. So sing a song for women everywhere. Equality, development, and peace. Women can't be silent when all around the world people hurt and hungry children cry. We'll sing out loud for justice and development and hold the rights of other people high. So sing a song for women everywhere. Let it ring around the world and never, never cease. So sing a song for women everywhere. Equality, development, and peace. Women now are working to build a better world. the love of peace can rest on every shore. Where men lay down their weapons and learn to love and share, and people work to bring an end to war. So sing a song for women everywhere. Let it ring around the world and never, never cease. So sing a song for women everywhere. Equality, development, and peace. So sing a song for women everywhere. Let it ring around the world and never, never cease. So sing a song for women everywhere. Equality, development, and peace. All across the nation.
So sing a song for women everywhere. That is the International Women's Day song. And I am excited to be able to share it with you. And prayerfully, you learned something, heard something today that has never been exposed to you before. That is the International Women's Day song. And I don't see Nia song. He must have took a longer than necessary water break. I told you the song was short. There he is.
I'm here. Am I muted?
Huh?
No, I thought I was muted. I'm not. Yes. Okay. That being said, we're going. Are we done with the song? We finished talking about the song?
Yes, we are done with the song.
So that replaces our anthem. So we're not playing the anthem today.
No.
Okay. That being said, we're returning to our marriage series next week. So, ladies and gentlemen, please, next Sunday, the 16th of March, will be the middle of March already. The topic will be after you say, yes, I do. So a week ago, we said, yes, I do. But after you say I do, what next? What are the things to do to prepare yourself for the big day, which is just one day in the whole century.
Whole scheme of things.
Yes. So after you say I do, what next? All right. So
what next? So
yes, back to you.
Thank you. So our sister organization, Africa's Brain Bank, is hosting its 6th annual summit and gala. And it's going to be right here in the Big Apple, the East Coast of the United States, New York City. We want you to get your ticket, your plane, train, your automobile, whatever you got to do, and come on over to New York. Be ready to take part in what Africa's Brain Bank is doing. And their primary focus is STEM education, and the Africa's brain, mostly staying on the continent of Africa. We want to make sure that our children have an opportunity to stay there, to be educated, to get an equally what's the word I want to use, Nia Sang? An equal
opportunity.
Equal opportunity to get a fair and highly developed education, as if they were leaving the country to go to the UK or to come to the United States or any other places that our African brains leave Africa to go to school. We want them to be able to get that same education right there on the continent and begin to build their country up as well. So we need you to go to the website, africasbrainbank.net.org. Get your ticket. You will find the layout for the weekend, starting on Friday, and then Saturday there's the summit all day, and then there's the red carpet gala. Sunday is the billionaires breakfast for the sponsors, and then there's Monday. And this is Labor Day weekend. So you can make plans to spend your Labor Day with us in New York City for Africa's Brain Bank 6th Annual Summit and Gala. And the link is already posted in the chat box for the tickets. You go there, you will find the whole layout for the weekend. You don't have to go for the whole weekend. We really like it if you could, and you would, but you will find the whole breakdown there. So come on and join us and help us help our children on the continent of Africa.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that. And we're returning to the topic of the day, the International Day of the Women. Well, it was celebrated yesterday. Of course, we know that we have to give a shout out to all the women out there who are doing what they are doing to make us better people in this world. Yes, over back to you.
Thank you, Nelson. So we talked about pioneering women, and we've talked about courageous women. We talked about groundbreakers. Groundbreakers was Bessie Coleman. Courageous women was Malala Yousafzai, the young woman from Pakistan, where I couldn't get off my list. Pakistan, who made a difference at 15. At 15, she didn't wait till she get grown. Some of you got some ideals and some things that you think, some changes that need to be made. You don't have to wait till you be grown to do it. However, we're going to move on and we're going to talk about the tenacious women, the women who never give up. Now, while she had a dream as a child, she could not accomplish that dream while she was a child. We're talking about Ray Montage, born 1935 and just died recently, just a few years ago in 2018. Her grandfather took her to a museum where she saw a German-made mini sub, and she fell in love with submarines and was fascinated by boats. And she was determined to build her own. Now, she was a child when she had this love, when she first saw that submarine. And she said she was going to build her own. But she was told that she would never be able to. No, not that she would not be able to. She was told she was not allowed. Can you imagine telling us she's not allowed because she was, first of all, African American, and she was a girl. So previously, it took 2 years to design a ship. But President Nixon came to the Army and he wanted a ship designed in 2 months. So her bosses gave her 1 month to plan it. She not only became a brilliant engineer, she was the first person in her story to develop and design a ship using a computer, and she did it in exactly 18 hours and 26 minutes. Now, I told you earlier, it always took 2 years to design and make a ship. She designed the ship in 18 hours and 26 minutes. She revolutionized the design process for all ships and subs in the entire U.S. Navy. Can you imagine? A Black woman. I am so proud of her because she didn't let people tell her that you can't be an engineer, you can't build submarines, you can't build ships. She didn't let that, what they said to her, stop her from her dream. And she went on to do it. She was the first female CEO for the Navy, and she was granted, hear me now, she was granted a professional engineer's license, even though she never got an engineering degree. So college may not be right for everybody, but you can still do great things without a college degree. Now, she did get a degree, but her degree was in business. But she would get in there, and when she went to work for the Navy, she learned how to, she was a secretary, even though she said she never had the opportunity to type because she didn't know how to type. But they hired her as a secretary, and she saw the men working on computers. And she watched, and her boss was always shooing her away, and she watched. And one day it was said that all the men that ran the computers called in sick. And she went in there, she said, because in order for her to do her job, she needed stuff from the computer. So she went on in there and flipped it on. Of course, somebody ratted her out that she was touching the computers, but she went in there, turned the computer on, start running it. And after that, she got a promotion, and the Navy promoted her to be a computer analyst. And that's how she got to be designing a ship, a submarine on the computer. And even though the Navy had 2 months to do it, she was able to do it in 1 month, and she was able to design it. And it was the first time a computer generated design was ever used, and an African-American woman by the name of Ray Montage was the one who did it. And because of her, recently died in 2018, she revolutionized the entire Navy, United States Navy.
May her soul rest in peace. And we come to today, we have one of the ladies that I want to give a shout out to, Greta Thunberg, the Swedish lady who at 16 used to skip her Friday classes to go to the Swedish parliament to protest because there was not enough education for the girls. And
wow.
Yeah, her theme was School Strike for Climate. She was actually protesting for climate change to be accepted as a reality, that it is a human-caused thing, that it is not some natural thing that happened. We, the human beings, have done bad to our environment, and we have caused climate change to be what it is. So she was skipping class to go protest in front of the Swedish parliament. She was only 15 at that time. She's 22 now. So she's done a great job. And Greta Thunberg, that's her name. So I just wanted to give a shout out to her too. She's impacted society. And even though there are deniers of climate change, she's firm about it, and she continues to work for that.
Make sure you drop her in the chat because I want to look her up. You know, it was important for us to come to today and bring you people that you may not have ever heard of. Like I said, you know the Rosa Parkses and the Harriet Tubmans, the people that your schools have you doing and studying every Black History Month. But we wanted to bring to you some different women who are making a change, and let you know that you have an opportunity to make change right now, today. You don't have to die and become a part of her story. You don't have to get old to do something. Here, Nielsen just told us about a 16-year-old. I talked about a 15-year-old earlier. You have some ideas and some plans there. Just because you live on the continent of Africa and you think that you have no opportunities, here we have our sister in Kenya, Mrs. Wanjiri, who began planting trees and brought back. Now, you know what, Nielsen, now that I think about it, if there were no trees, where were they getting oxygen from? It couldn't have been a good, healthy oxygen. But because she was able to come back and plant trees in her country, they had a healthier level of oxygen because the trees were giving off, I forgot what it is that trees give off, but whatever it is that they give off to make the oxygen good, she was able to do that. And so whatever, you can't say that I live in Africa and there are no resources for me. We know Africans who are doing great things. We had not too long ago the brother on the show who made a car, an electric car from scraps that he found. He made a solar car that he made from scraps he found in the trash heap. So just because you live on a continent doesn't mean that you don't have opportunities. God has given you the ability to be tenacious as well, that have that never give up spirit. And speaking of never giving up, there's one other sister I want to talk about, and her name is Immaculata. Now, I can't pronounce her last name. I tried to Google it. I tried to find something that would help me pronounce it, but she wrote a book. Matter of fact, she wrote 3 books, but the one that's most famous is Left to Tell. And she is a Rwandan, and she survived the genocide back in 1994 between the Hutus and the Tutsis. And she grew up, this was her country. She loved it. She was surrounded by her family, and all of her family was massacred. Everybody was murdered. But she survived 91 days. Somebody say 91. I know I'm not preaching, but somebody say 91. She survived 91 days. Her and 7 other women huddled silently in a bathroom, a cramped bathroom in the local pastor's house. He was of the other tribe, and he was able to hide these women out in the bathroom. Can you imagine? Come on, sisters. You know, when we go through every month, how we feel. Can you imagine being locked in a small bath? And if you've never been to Africa, and I'm not talking about the laboratory at the school. I'm not talking about the laboratory at the, where you got all these stalls. There's a big, I'm talking about one individual bathroom. 7, 8 women survived for 91 days. And she's another one who taught herself French. God gave her a vision, and she asked for a French dictionary. And she learned to speak French because she was anticipating the day that the UN would come. And they did come. And she happened to be the only person who was able to speak to the French soldiers. And that's how she was able to become free. Matter of fact, when I teach Nia Song during my Christmas holiday, when the students are on holiday, there's a chapter in her book that I give to my students, and they have to write me a paper based on the things that the questions that I ask concerning that chapter. Immaculata, her last name is spelled Ilibagza. Can you pronounce that?
No.
Ilbaza. It's Rwandan. So Ilbaza.
Okay.
Yes, I couldn't get it.
Yeah.
But Immaculata, Rwandan, she survived the genocide. Her book is called Left to Tell.
Okay.
She was in New York for a time because after she met and married this French gentleman, they moved to New York. And that's
Okay.
where she began to tell her story. And I don't know if she's still in New York, but she ended up marrying the man and they had children. I know that there is a second book. I know there's a second book. It might be a third book, but Immaculata is one of those tenacious women who never gave up. She could have given up, she could have given up. She could have just given up the will to live.
Yes.
But she knew there was a day coming that she would be able to survive. And she knew that the UN would eventually come. And because French is one of the Francophone languages of the UN, French soldiers were sent to help bring an end to that civil war, that massacre.
Yeah.
So we're talking about people who not only are still alive, but you have an opportunity to get their books and learn her story that they are creating, the noisemakers that they are, to encourage you to be a noisemaker as well.
And it is good. And it is good to get those books and to know more about them.
Yes.
Don't be like somebody who will tell you that, oh, that person is from a country that has never been heard of. Because all countries, there are 194 countries in the world, and we all know about them. But don't tell me, oh, Rwanda, that's a country unheard of. No, don't say that. Rwanda, because of the genocide, but apart from that, it is the only French-speaking country that has adopted English as a primary language, as the first language of the country. And they work they work in English now, not in French.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Now, I did not know that, but I love what the president is doing.
Yes.
I love what I can't pronounce his last name either, but I love what Peter is doing since he's become president.
Yes.
Rwanda is so modernized. It is beautiful. It is a beautiful place to visit. My Ugandan son and daughter, matter of fact, the week after their wedding, I was in Uganda for the wedding. They went on their honeymoon. The husband, my son, got assigned his job, sent him to Rwanda. So they've been there in Rwanda, living a beautiful life. So that's one place you may want to visit. Some of these places that you have heard of and you heard bad things about, and oh my God, you wouldn't want to go. Now it's time to go and see for yourself.
Rwanda is actually one of the gateways to African tourism. It is very touristic. They are very welcoming. There are some of their people are some of the tallest in the world. So you need to visit to see how they live. They live in those hills in Central Africa. It is a country in the heart of Africa, the Central African region. So that is a country that is worth visiting. And coming close to home, what about this gymnast?
Who?
This gymnast.
Oh,
Simone Biles.
Simone Biles, yes.
Yeah, that's one who has also left her mark on the world scene. Yeah, so she does all those acrobatic things, and she's fantastic in what she does, and she continues to go.
She not only is she a dynamic gymnast.
Yes.
She has got moves that are named after her. Can you imagine? She's a GOAT, the greatest of all time. She is a GOAT.
Yeah.
I think 3 or 4 years ago. And now she has moves. So people coming behind her will now be doing the Biles on the bar, or they'll be doing the Biles this. And she's still a very young woman, just recently married last year herself.
She's 27.
She's 37?
Yes.
Oh, but she looked like she's about 17 or 18.
No, she's 27.
Oh, 27. Okay, yeah. I didn't think she was that old. Yeah, so 27.
Yeah.
And she's recently married. And the one thing about Simone's that I liked, she did not pretend like there was not something going on in her life. A lot of us were very discouraged with the last Olympics when she did not perform as well. But she said she was having some mental health issues, and she took time off to deal with her mental health challenges. So you don't have to continue in the state that you're in. You don't have to keep thinking that I'll just push it to the back and it doesn't work. It's not happening to me. Take some time off. We encourage you to take time off every day for your mental health, to be self-caring, and to do that self-love. See about you at least an hour or two every day. You need that break. So we're almost at the end of our show, but I want to talk about the last two women.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to talk about the inspirational women.
Yeah.
And I don't know anybody else who is more inspirational, who I believe she is the most inspirational woman of all time, who not only inspires us, but she definitely has made her story. And that is the woman in the person of our former First Lady, Michelle Obama. The woman who didn't think she wanted to be married to Barack.
Yes.
Because he was just seemed to be a little too cocky, and then she had to show him around a law firm, and God allowed them to come together. And you know what? I believe Michelle is actually more popular than Barack, even though he made history by being the first African-American man to be the president of the United States.
Yeah.
She made her own mark separate from him, just as Jackie Onassis Kennedy made her own mark with her fashion, and First Lady Michelle Obama not only is cultured, classy, educated, fun, and cares about people. I'm sure that some of those qualities are in you, my sisters. You can do the same thing and be as inspirational as she is.
That's
and
right.
My last inspirational person is one of my personal favorites as well, someone who I've come to know and love, have known for most of our lives. But she is the person of Archbishop Mary Floyd Palmer. She is the first female archbishop, not only in Philadelphia, not only in Pennsylvania, but she is the first female archbishop in the entire United States of America. She's the first African-American female archbishop in the United States. She's known for her work as a police officer. She's known for her work as a preacher, as a choir director. She's known for her work as a prison minister. But the thing that I think she's most well known for is being the daughter of the legendary evangelist, Reverend Dr. Melvin Floyd, who during the gang war era would ride all over Philadelphia with this big van, with this great big coffin, with a body sitting up out of the top of it. Everybody knew Melvin Floyd. He was responsible for bringing warring gangs together and got them to have a ceasefire and sit at the same table. And he was basically single-handedly ended the gang wars in Philadelphia. Last year, Bishop Mary, as she's affectionately called, she was inducted into her high school's Hall of Fame. And she not only is the first African-American, but she's the first African-American woman of faith to ever be inducted into the Hall of Fame in her school's entire history. And I'm so glad and so proud to be able to call her my sister and my friend. So here we've talked about some courageous women. We've talked about some inspirational women. We've talked about some tenacious women. We've talked about some groundbreaking women, all here for International History Month. And
yeah, let me just chip in here.
International Women's Month.
Yeah, to say that we appreciate all the women, but particularly those who have mentioned, and particularly those who have not mentioned. But one I want to mention, Dolly Parton. She lost her husband, I think a week or two ago. And she dedicated a very touching song for him, If You Hadn't Been There. That was the title of the song, If You Hadn't Been There.
Wow.
Yeah, her husband all her life. That was the man in her life, the man who kept her going, and the man, she said, who was the soul of her soul.
Now, you mentioned a woman, I think you mentioned two women. I asked you to put in the chat box, I can go look it up. And I almost forgot that Reverend Pam sent me a link that she wanted me to play. So we're going to extend just a few minutes because I'm going to grab that video.
Yeah, I just came back, like, I wonder if she played that song. I didn't hear it. But while you are putting it, I want to honor an amazing woman that is my upgrade. She is Pam 10.0, and that's my amazing daughter, Dr. Nanga. I'm not going to talk much about her, but she is like 25 talented women in one person. So Ambassador Lisa, go ahead.
What's the name of that song? Is it, you said My Sweet Mother?
It's Sweet Mother. The chat, I can play it. It's in the chat. I put the link.
I know, but I just put the link in, and it came up with quite a few things that said Sweet Mother in it. So I want to know.
Sweet Mother, yes.
Sweet
By
Mother.
Prince Nico.
Mbaraga.
Please become Baraga. Let me see. I still have it open. I can share if you want me
Okay,
to play.
then you can go ahead and do that. Mhm.
Okay, yeah, let me play it. Yeah.
And
So
Nia sung, who was that person, that song that you said she dedicated? Put that in the chat box.
I sent it in a private mail.
okay, hold on. Let me share the sound, the computer sound, so that yeah, this is a classic.
That's it. Mhm.
Ambassador Lisa, you can dance.
Okay. We don't hear anything.
Yeah, it's not playing.
It's not playing?
No.
No.
Wait, hold on. I shared the sound. Hold on a second. The devil is a liar. Hold on. I'm gonna share it. Hold on a second. Let me.
Please.
Oh no, we have to play this song. Hold on a second. Do you guys see it on my screen?
Yeah, it was buffering a while ago.
Okay, wait, yeah, hold on. Let me go back. Okay. Okay, did you hear it now?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
Sasa,
Ambassador Lisa, you can dance.
Rocker Features, presenting you Sweet
There
Mother.
you go.
Sweet Mother, I no go forget you for the suffer where you suffer for me. Sweet Mother, I no go forget you for the suffer where you suffer for me. When I dey cry, my mother go carry me. She go say, my pikin, wetin you dey cry, yo yo. Stop, make you no cry again. Oh. When I want sleep, my mother go bed me. She go lie me well for bed. She cover me cloth, say make you sleep, my pikin. Oh. When I dey hungry, my mother go run up and down. They find me something when I go chop. Oh. Sweet mother, oh, eh, oh. So my sweet mother. When I dey sick, my mother go cry. She go say instead when I go die, make she die. Oh. She go beg God, God help me, my pikin. Oh. Oh, my mother. If I no sleep, my mother no go sleep. If I no chop, my mother no go chop. She no dey tire, sweet mother. I no go forget the suffer where you suffer for me, yeah. Sweet mother, yeah. Sweet mother, oh, yeah. Oh, sweet mother, I will never forget you. For the suffer you suffer for me. And if I should forget you,
Spanish status gets you one more.
Stop, 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 make you no cry again. Oh, my mother, oh, sorry. When I was asleep, my mother go beg me. She go lie me well, well for bed. Oh. She cover me clothes, say make you sleep, 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 my pikin. Oh. When I dey hungry, my mother go run up and down. She dey find me something when I go chop. Oh. Sweet mother, eh, sweet mother, oh, hey.
Okay, I don't think we're gonna play the whole thing. So the chat, the link
When
is
I
on the
dey
chat
sick,
box.
my mother go cry, cry, cry. She go say instead
What
when
did
I
I
go
say?
down, make she die. Oh. She go beg God, God help me, my pikin. Oh.
Okay, so this song is a classic. Ambassador Lisa, were you able to understand anything they were saying? I can't hear you. You're muted.
Yes, I was.
Good. So play it. It's on the chat box. Play it. And it's a long song, like 9 minutes, but it's a classic. You know, other people have tried to redo it, but they don't. Nobody comes close to him. So
Wow.
we stopped it. But that's a classic. Now you know, Sweet Mother.
Sweet mother. Yes, yes.
And the song covered most of what we're talking about. You know, what the mothers do. So, all right, Nia song last round. But before you do that, I just want to, when Ambassador Lisa was talking about the first woman that did this, that was inducted, there are a lot of first women. There are a lot of women who have broken the glass ceiling, but they should not be the last. And so when you are that first woman, make sure you raise other women. You bring other women up with you. Don't be there by yourself. I can't wait for the time when we will not be hearing the first
Yes.
woman to do this or the first Black person to do this. It's no longer cool. It should become, we should be or have multiple people in positions where it will not be a first anymore. Niason.
Thank you very much. Ambassador Lisa, I cannot type on my iPad, so I sent it to our private email. So just check there, Greta Thunberg. Greta is Greta.
I saw that, yeah.
Then the last name Thunberg.
You sent it in a text message?
Yes.
Okay.
Greta Thunberg. So that's the name I wanted you to have. And that being said, I think Ambassador Lisa, you are the one to give your last word before we go to our chair. Then I will.
I think she just did her last word. Did she? Was that your last word?
Yeah. Well, no, go ahead. Well,
no, you go ahead. Yeah,
let me just add something. I just want to laud the efforts of all the women, whether you're a girl or you're a wife or a sister or a mother, grandmother. You don't have to have kids to be a mother. Women are all mothers. We're the mothers of the earth. And we are the ones that hold things together. So I just want to encourage every woman, look in the mirror and tell yourself you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and you're the apple of God's eyes. You are God's masterpiece. You know, nobody should make you feel less than who God says you are. And it doesn't matter what somebody says, they cannot define you. You define yourself. You demand the respect that you get. You don't request it, you demand it, not by verbally requesting it or demanding it, but by the way you carry yourself, by the way you comport yourself, you know, and you don't have to wear brand name shoes or brand name clothes, but whatever brands you have, make sure it is clean, it is presentable, and you preserve your hair. And I want to just encourage our women, especially women of African descent, let's stop putting chemicals on our heads, please. I want to thank Chris Rock for that movie, Good Hair, because since that movie came out, it was 2009, no chemical has touched my hair. I wear my natural hair. So we don't need to wear the hair extensions from dead people. And I also want to encourage those in the movie industry, wear your natural hair. I applaud the South African actresses because they wear their natural hair. Our hair are so beautiful, they are versatile. It's the only hair that you can do anything to it. The other types of hair, you cannot do much with it. So be proud of who you are. God did not make a mistake making you a woman. You know, they may say we're the weaker vessel, but to tell you the truth, we're the stronger vessel. So I just want to appreciate all the women. You are the best thing that ever happened to this planet. Over to you, Nyasa.
Okay, Ambassador Lisa, prophetess, please, your turn to give your last word.
Thank you, Professor Nia-Song. My last word on the subject is there are many women who have made her story. You can make your story as well. Don't wait till you get old. Don't wait till you die. Go forth now and begin to bring forth those ideals. There is so much creativity in you. You can do anything you want to do, and you don't let nobody else's words stop you. Use those obstacles as stepping stones. Don't use them as, oh my, I can't. No, use those obstacles as stepping stones. That is my last word on the subject. But before I turn it over to Nia-Song, I want to encourage you also to go to our YouTube page, go to our Facebook page, like us, subscribe, and enjoy and share the videos. We talk about a plethora of events, a plethora of subjects and topics that will benefit you as the African on the continent and those of us who are here in the diaspora. We have something for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We continue to celebrate International Women's Day. It happened yesterday, but the celebration continues all month. Month of March is Women's Month, and we thank you all for being there for us. Next week, we are returning to our marriage series with what do you do after you say, yes, I do. So please remember to join us next Sunday. And then after next Sunday, it will be St. Patrick's Day. That is, we say happy St. Patrick's Day to the Irish. Well, I mean, to the Irish. So that is that. And